Hello, it's Pixie doing another video. A couple of thoughts today really. The first is horror films. I got this Now TV, so I was watching these Now TV box sets, and I was thinking some of them are a bit extreme. And in one of them I thought, I'm not going to watch that, it's just gross. And I realised that it's a lot of it's about desensitising people, maybe warping what they consider entertainment. I mean, I didn't really see any entertainment. Some guy getting shoved into an engine of a car and it chomping him up like a blender. But I realised that it pushes other agendas, such as warfare. You know, something happens on TV and they say a load of people got blown up or this. They can say it was you know, in defence of something, some justification. But people will never see the full picture because they're still in this, it's all entertainment, it's all a circus. They won't consider how many of the people that actually got killed and stuff like that, which is kind of a shame, but that's how it rolls really. Whatever research. So anyway, yeah, so just be mindful of what you watch. If it does sort of make you twist your stomach a bit, don't force yourself to watch it, because you don't want to normalise something that gives you an instinct of something that's wrong. You know, it's just the way things are. It's what you call a social erosion, I guess, where things get worn down, values and beliefs and so on, which is all a bit of a shame. And what else is going on? So I've ordered some spores in a syringe to make some grow some limains. Mushrooms would be quite interesting. And I'll probably market them as well. I might mix them with Ormus. So I might have to look at drying them out. I might dry them out, powder them or whatever, what people want, and then sell them to them. I could sell them as a whole mushroom, but I might be better. Yeah, if they're a bit like a spice or something, I'm selling them as in a bottle, and then I can easily like mix the Ormus together, or I can put them through a process extraction. I don't think they're hard to absorb for the body, so it doesn't really need that technique. I do have some dead hemp plants. They only last a year, and I was wondering if I could resuscitate them, but they're probably gone now. So I'm likely to cut them and the stems of them, and then put them through a process of extraction and see what I can do with them. I'm going to also order some resin, so I can start some of my Orgone experiments as well. I'm likely to give a talk at work, actually. I've been asked to do some presentation or something random for a course. So I thought to myself, how am I going to approach that? But I'm going to I might try to get them to video it, might be quite good. And then I'll just show them a different Orgone and explain the history of it. And sort of how it develops into New Age beliefs, resistance, problems around marketing there's been, and other things like that. So that'd be quite cool. And anything else? So just mainly doing some research on YouTube on different topics, more about the psychology really. I'm just at the moment trying to make myself stronger, more focused, a better version of myself, I guess. This is what 2019's about really. I mean, we all grow, it's just that I've just been sat on the side really. But now I've got more work at the moment. I can probably donate a little bit of time towards making things and projects, so which I do, and grow that. Any thoughts about non-contact? I know I've been banging on about that, and think, yeah, I feel a lot better in myself now. I think I've got to. It's very strange. At the time that I was involved with a person, I seemed to ignore all the negative behaviour. I seemed to just focused on the positives from my side of it. So that's why I always probably misread the process. But it's just a biological thing. The animal side of us, we often think we're just, you know, like some mortal gods on earth or whatever we see ourselves as, this evolved being. But we forget we have some basic fundamental animal instincts that are in us as well, and they can override certain behaviours, the logic goes out the window, you know, or entering certain modes. But if I ever get in that situation again, I think I might manage it a bit different. You know what I might get is some kratom. I'm thinking that kratom is an opioid. It probably would block out the effects of any psychological stress. So, I mean, so if you're in a situation where you go through something, you're going to go through something quite extreme, and it's going to be, you know, like you're breaking up over marriage or whatever. And so maybe that might just take the edge off it. So you just really need to have a kind of thing set up for it so you can handle it. Some people like to work through stress. Some people might want time off because they can't think straight. So if you can plan something, like say giving up your job or something, I mean taking a holiday and you're giving up your job but you're going for another job, or maybe it's just got to the point where you're just having a nervous breakdown. So you need to set up all the things in place so you can deal with stuff and move forward. And then it's also understanding the psychology. I mean, if you don't get involved in certain things often, you can get knocked for six because you don't know how to deal with it. You know, and this has happened to people that have dealt with some serious stuff like, you know, cancer and other things, but then they've entered something where they've been betrayed or they've entered something like that and it's really screwed them up. Now I don't feel screwed up. I just feel like something got taken out of control from me, and I realised that that was probably the illusion that you were in control. That's why I became a bit lax, and maybe that's the wake up. Because you have to see things how they are. Now things are sort of like, well, you know, you didn't really look at the situation correctly, did you? And I'm thinking, well, actually, quite true. I was in La La Land or wherever. So yeah, anyway, so that's on that side of things. I'm trying to think of anything else, little bits of information. So yeah, I should get on with my Orgone experiments. It'd be interesting in my mushroom experiments. I need to push the plants, start growing some plants. There's some stuff actually about colloidal silver I wanted to mention about. And I started having, after Christmas, and I didn't know, I thought, well, maybe my immune system's been really whacked or something. Lots has gone on all at once. And there's a few other stresses, like it was money, and my dad wasn't very well, and all these lots of things like that. And I started to experience high blood pressure, heart rate was high. I had some diarrhea problem for a bit, and that wasn't fun for 3 days. It was just sort of liquid, and sort of all the aches and pains in my body. And when you have that as well, make notes. If you get the flu and you've got aches in your knee joints and aches in your lower back, it means you've got weaknesses there as well. Things you might want to deal with when you're feeling better. You might think, well, I better take better care of it because it's telling me it's that sensitive. It raised it as a problem area. And so, I mean, what I've used in the past is, and I had a breathing problem, and it seemed strange at night. I thought, it's like, oh, you know, I'm breathing harder than I would normally, and I'm not sure why. I could have gone there. Just eyeing some lady actually. And yeah, so what I did, yeah, maybe go there. Okay. But I'm also, yeah, I was basically, in the past I took a massive dosage of colloidal silver, and that looks good. And basically, yeah, it helped me breathe a lot. And I think it may, if there's any kind of like flora or anything inside you, and that's in your, there may be helpful bacteria that lives in your lungs and things. So I might wipe that out, if that is true, and open myself up. So once the silver cleared through my system, it's opened myself up to different types of infections, possibly. But it seems, or it's to do with some flu virus that I've caught. Some, you know, there's a lot of people that get their vaccinations, they seem to get sick afterwards, and they might be passing on stuff to people, sort of mutagens and stuff that's mutating other flu viruses that enter it. And that's probably true because a virus uses your host body to regenerate. So if you've got a dead flu virus and the live flu is different from a different strain, goes in there, it may be using the dead virus to regenerate itself. So all you're doing is basically you've got an area for it to harvest, and it can hide pretty well in there. If the body's tacked it and doesn't see it as a big threat, it's not going to really deal with it at first until it becomes a problem. And so you may be actually feeding it. I mean, I'm not saying don't have vaccines. It's entirely up to you what you do there. Just there needs to be a bit more research, or maybe if you have a vaccine, keep yourself isolated for a while. You know, like say take a holiday, so you stay in for a bit, because you might be sick for about a week anyway. With a vaccine, might have an effect on you. So that's an element of that. So anyway, so I had this problem, and it's like my chest, like, you know, I was like at night, I was thinking, crikey, what's happening? Why am I feel stressed? My body, possibly because the virus is attacking at night, or it's something else, funguses and things, and bacteria might do that at night, or it's to do with some of the soil and stuff that's in my property. So I've wrapped that up and sealed that up as well, because there may be bacteria that I'm breathing in that I'm not aware of. And I'll check my time. That's fine. And so I've sealed them off. I've sealed the compost off in bags, and you know, only keep to what I'm using for growing stuff, rather than having stuff that's open and died and I've just left it for a while. And so what I did is I got some colloidal silver. I made some colloidal silver with my method using a 9-volt. I've got what is it? Adapter. So I've got an old adapter. It's 9 volts. Separate the wires because it's got like 2 wires that are coming up into one sort of peg and pop into a device. So I got that bit off and separate the wires, and put 2 silver rods to it, and then into the water, and I made that. So I made that. Made a certain amount of it, and then with the kettle I warmed up, heated up the water, poured the water into this large cup, and then I breathed in the vapour, and the vapour was able to ease the chest actually. Before, when it cooled down a bit, I started drinking and gargling and all sorts. Yeah, it worked really well, to be honest. But you don't want to take too much silver, because it can have other effects on you. And the other thing was in my mind is, have I done something to myself? Have I taken something? Was it my chugger experiments? And should I have been boiling at a high temperature because I want the nutrients out of it? But I might have been taking in some other things that have lived in the wood for ages. So yeah. Anyway, I just keep you up to date with things with colloidal silver. So I do some more experiments, and hopefully if I'm going to do a presentation at work, it's going to have different people. I try to get it videoed, and maybe I upload that to YouTube. That'd be interesting. Anyway, take care, and speak to you soon.